Fortnite Chapter 6 is going to bring back this evil creature that had been mentioned over and over again throughout chapters, and despite being heard from other people, we don't really know who this is. It's a male, female, is it even a person? From other people's description, it looks like this creature is formless. He can actually be whatever he wants to be. Just like Mystique from X-Men, this creature can transform itself to be a human or a giant creature. It looks like in Chapter 6 we will finally find out its human form. This bunch of art is showing up around the island, and this was created by Hope, who can actually see the future through her art. The very first time the word nothing was mentioned was all the way back in Chapter 1, and that was almost 5 years ago. The scientist during the black hole event left a message, and he said, "I was not alone. Others are outside of the loop. This was not calculated. The nothing is now inevitable." Then Chapter 2 was here. We got introduced to the Imagined Order, Midas, the Doomsday event took place, the island got flooded, but we did not hear anything about the nothing. But that soon changed when we reached Chapter 2, Season 5. The 0 point was exposed because Galactus ripped it out of the ground, but before he tried to consume the 0 point, he was defeated by the Avengers. And as a result of this thing being exposed, people were escaping the Fortnite loop, and people and creatures outside of the loop were entering Fortnite as well. This was a huge concern at the time, especially for the Imagined Order, who were controlling Fortnite Island at the time. So Dr. Sloan calls Agent Jones, tells him to go and hire a bunch of hunters from different realities, and that's exactly what he does. As seen in this Chapter 2 Season 5 trailer, he hires people like Mandalorian, gladiators, even characters from other shows and movies like Terminator, Alien. The Imagined Order wanted to make sure that no one escaped or entered Fortnite Island, but unfortunately it was too late. The 0 point was completely destabilized, and when everyone was distracted trying to protect the 0 point because it was destabilizing, someone entered from outside of the loop to the Fortnite Island. Because of this one person, the history of Fortnite completely changed, because as we all know, we had to abandon the Chapter 2 map, and then in Chapter 3 we lost the island completely. I will reveal to you exactly who that person was. The arrival of this person on the Fortnite Island was at the beginning of the end of Chapter 2. Because after that, everything went downhill. We end up going back in time to this Primal season, which is still to this day one of the greatest seasons of all time. During this season, people on the island starts complaining about some alien activities taking place around the island. You can hear in this tape that I'm about to play, this is a tape from Chapter 2 Season 6, made by a character called Marie, and you can hear her getting kidnapped by the Imagined Order mid-tape.
Hi out there. My name is Mari, and I've been seeing UFOs in the sky for months. It started really late one night. I was locking up my car, getting ready to go inside, when I saw something moving at the corner of my eye. Dr. Sloan from the I.O. has this to say: cease all communications with and discussion of alien matters immediately. Uh-oh. Sounds like someone knows something. Well, tell me who you are and what the I.O. is, and maybe we'll have a deal. Hey, look, if you know who this Sloan weirdo is, can you message me? She will not back off, and she is really freaking me out, seriously. I don't know how much time I have. I'm not quitting. I'm not stopping the show. And anyone who says so is lying.
After this tape, a giant UFO mothership shows up on the island. Then we find out that Kevin the Cube that showed up on the island all the way back in Chapter 1 was sent by the Lost Reality. After Dr. Sloan blows up the mothership, all of the cubes that was inside the ship ends up on the island. When the creator of these cubes shows up on the island, the Cube Queen, for the very first time since the black hole event, we hear the name again, not once but twice.
And now that when we are done, only nothing will remain. The time for games is over. Leave nothing behind.
fact that the Cube Queen is mentioning the name Nothing tells us that she serves this person, and this Nothing is bigger than the lost reality. We were so close to find out the identification of the Nothing, because I'm pretty sure it would show up after the lost reality took control of the island completely, but the Seven are not going to allow that to happen, so they flipped the island, taking us to chapter 3. In chapter 3, we saw the island themed around the Seven. They were controlling the map until the Imagine Order, using massive drills, shows up on the island. A huge war starts between the Seven and the Imagine Order, but we still have to remember that the lost reality is still around on the other side of the map. While everyone was distracted, one of the lost realities creature makes its way through possibly the hole created by the drills from chapter 2 map, and slowly starts laying foundations of her evil plan. And when the Seven defeated the Imagine Order, her plan was already in place. Now all she had to do was wait. The vibing season is here. Everyone is celebrating the end of the Imagine Order. Everyone was so distracted they didn't even notice a giant reality tree and bunch of exotic mushroom that showed up on the island. This was all happening because of this creature, Herald. Throughout the season, the roots of the reality tree start spreading around the island. When chapter 3 season 4 was here, it was a time for Herald to attack. The very first thing she does is eliminates people protecting the island. She kidnaps all of the 7 members except for Paradigm. Then she makes her way to the reality tree, which is again attached to all of the locations of the island. She turns everything into chrome, and as we saw during the finale event, the map gets completely destroyed. Now, before we move on from chapter 3, a lot of people has forgotten that during this season, while Herald was corrupting everything, we heard the voice of the Nothing through a quest. Bites was another character who must have sneaked in with Herald because he had the same chrome power like Herald. During this season, Bites was trying to be recruited by the Nothing, and he goes to this television. For the very first time in the history of Fortnite, we hear the voice of the Nothing.
We see you are finally prepared to face your fate. But first, you must prove yourself.
You might have noticed the Nothing refers to himself as we. This tells us that either the Nothing, like I mentioned earlier, has the power to shapeshift and transform from a person to a creature, so he sees himself as more than one person, or the Nothing is in fact an organization, for example, like the Seven or the IO. We also get a confirmation in this quest that the lost reality is in fact working for the Nothing, because you can see the quest is titled New Warrior of the Lost Reality. Byte probably was inspired by Herald, who was already recruited by the Nothing, because you can see in her loading screen it says nothing is happening. Now, if you look at this logo of the lost reality, you can make sense of everything that is happening. As you can see, these 6 symbols surrounding this hollow circular object. I think these 6 symbols represent different divisions in the lost reality. Maybe one of them is Cube Queen, another one is Herald, and maybe the rest of them has not been introduced yet. Maybe each of those divisions has like different powers. For example, the Cube Queen had the power to control cubes. Herald had the power of chrome. As for this circular object, maybe that is the Nothing, a central brain of the operation that's controlling everything. Now, during this finale event of chapter 2, the Cube Queen opened a portal. We saw a bunch of UFO ships. They all look the same except for this one. This is obviously the mothership. Maybe this is the Nothing's main ship. After the destruction of the chapter 3 map, luckily the 0 Point brought a bunch of parts from different realities and constructs a brand new island. First thing we notice is Herald is on this island still, and then we are introduced to the characters like Ageless Champion and this person called Stallon. We find out that Stallon is constructing a portal device. He asks for our help. He tells us that there is this evil creature who has no shape or name, who also has the power to come to your dream and communicate with you, and he has told Ageless Champion and Stallon to construct this rift gate, or else he will destroy them. But that plan fails as well because someone sabotages their plan and the rift gate explodes. Then both the Ageless Champion and Stallon goes missing. I think Nothing was the one who was trying to get on this island using the rift gate. Thing is, Fortnite was planning to bring the Nothing after the destruction of the chapter 3 map. The whole of chapter 4 was going to be themed around the Nothing and the lost reality. You can even see a trailer that was made for this event, but for some reason Fortnite delayed the plan to bring the Nothing to the game. Maybe because they decided to bring OG map back and it did not make sense storyline wise. Now I think think they will be here during chapter 6 because this art has been found. This was made by Hope, and we know that Hope can see the future through her art. For example, she drew the Wanderer way before he arrived on the island. This is an art of a television. Remember when Bites was communicated by the Nothing? It was through a TV. There is this character in the survey skin. Eyes look the same as the eyes inside of the television, and also if you look at the colors on his body, this might be the Nothing. Hope also drew a bunch of images of Dr. Sloan's, UFOs, and more televisions. This proves us that chapter 6 is going to be themed around the Nothing and the lost reality.